$165,000. In the example I'm about to show you, that's what one preserved date can be worth. Now, after a VA denial, you have 3 appeal lanes and a 1-year deadline. Each lane solves a different problem. I read the rules and the board data and put them into one decision tree, and the question is not which lane sounds strongest, it's what problem the next lane needs to solve. The rules come from the Appeals Modernization Act, the 2019 law that created these lanes. The percentages come from appealed cases that reach the board. They show patterns in those cases, not your personal odds. The timelines are approximate and can change, so check the VA's current numbers before filing. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm a veteran, founder of ClaimRaven, and I analyze the data, but I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Put the denial letter in the middle of the tree, and the first branch is whether the file needs new evidence. The first question is simple. Do you need to add evidence? If yes, one branch stays open and one closes immediately. If no, the next question is whether you want a senior reviewer to check the existing record or a judge to review the case. Those choices come from the Appeals Modernization Act, which replaced the old single appeal process in 2019 with supplemental claim, higher level review, and board appeal. You can move between lanes after a new decision, but the 1-year deadline matters if you want to preserve the effective date. If this kind of breakdown is useful, hit the subscribe button. I publish a new analysis of real board decisions every week from the same dataset of more than 101,500 cases. Now, lane 1 is a supplemental claim. This lane requires new and relevant evidence. New means the evidence was not in the file when VA made the last decision. Relevant means it addresses an issue in the claim, ideally the reason given for the denial. Sending the same exam again with a new cover letter does not make it new. An updated treatment record, a private opinion, a lay statement about something the file never addressed, newly found service records, a new diagnosis, or a different theory of service connection might qualify. It's the fastest lane, around 125 days end to end. It goes back down to the rater at the regional office, and the VA's duty to assist switches back on, so they may order a new exam or pull more records. Now, where it works, you have something concrete to add that answers the denial. Where it fails, the problem was never the evidence. The evidence doesn't cure a misread of the old evidence. And when a supplemental claim dies, the reason on the letter is usually the same 4 words: evidence not new and relevant. But what if the file already contains what you need and the problem is how VA read it? That's the branch higher level review is built to test. Lane 2 is a higher level review. No new evidence is allowed. There are some nuances, but generally a senior reviewer looks at the record that existed when VA made the decision and checks for an error. That could be rating math, a fact the decision overlooked, a service connection analysis, or a duty to assist problem such as inadequate exams. If the reviewer can correct the error, the decision may change. If not, the denial continues. Processing runs roughly 125 to 150 days. There is one feature here worth using, the optional informal conference. You or your representative get about 30 to 60 minutes on the phone with the senior reviewer, and you walk them to the exact spot where you think the decision went wrong. You still can't slip in new evidence, but you can argue interpretation. Now, in the data, asking for the conference tends to travel with higher overturns. That could be selection bias, but it costs nothing to request. The overturn rate in the published analysis sits in the 18 to 20% range. This lane works when the error is specific and you can state it in 1 or 2 sentences, clearly identify it. It fails on, I think I deserve 50% instead of 30, with no identifiable mistake to point at. That version runs straight into the roughly 80% that get affirmed. The no new evidence rule is not a footnote. It creates the most expensive mismatch in this tree. This is the mistake I would watch for. You file a higher level review, then get a new private nexus opinion 3 weeks later and send it in. The opinion may be useful, but the higher level reviewer cannot consider it, and the lane is limited to the old record. If you need to add new evidence, higher level review does not solve your problem. If you need a judge, a testimony option, or a board evidence window, the third branch is the one to examine. Lane 3 is board appeal. A veterans law judge reviews the case, and you choose one of 3 dockets with different evidence rules and wait times. Docket 1 is direct review. No new evidence and no hearing. The judge reviews the existing record, and you figure it's about 1 year timeline. It's the fastest board option. In this data set, it also had the lowest grant rate of the 3 board dockets, but the cases choosing each docket are not comparable enough to call the docket the cause. Docket 2, evidence submission. This one gives you a 90-day window after you file to add new evidence, and then the file locks. That's about 1 to 2 years roughly based on the data. And the 90 days is firm. Evidence on day 91 does not get looked at, short of a narrow exception. Docket 3 is a hearing. This is the slowest, roughly 2 to 4 years, and the only docket that puts you in front of the judge to testify live by video or in person. You're sworn in, your representative and the judge ask questions, and your spouse, your parents, your battle buddies can all testify. You can add evidence on this docket as well. The board is not the lane for speed. It's the lane for when you need a judge applying federal case law and you can wait for it. Now, the deadline that applies across every branch, the 1 year preservation rule. File any of these 3 lanes within 1 year of your most recent decision, and your effective date is preserved. Even if the claim then bounces through multiple lanes and takes 5 years to finally grant, it pays back to that original date. Miss the year, and you're filing a brand new claim. The effective date resets to the day you refiled, and everything before it is gone. Now here's the example. Say a single condition claim should have been service connected at 50% in 2015, and it's finally granted in 2026. At roughly $1,250 a month, 11 years comes to about $165,000. That's only an illustration. Combined rating math, rate changes, dependents, and the facts of the claim can also change it. The point is that the effective date can be worth far more than the monthly rating suggests. Each new decision starts another 1 year window. If you continue the claim within each window, the effective date may remain protected. If a decision becomes final, getting back to the earlier date becomes much harder. This is one of the places where I would want an accredited rep to check the exact dates. That explains why the clock matters. It still doesn't tell us whether one route performs better. For that, look at the board data and keep the selection bias limit attached. I also broke the 101,518 board decisions down by the route listed in the file. Direct review, about 26%, and that's the giant bucket, 43,000 cases. Evidence submission, about 37%. Hearing, about 35%. Higher level review, about 30%. On a smaller sample of 1,700. Supplemental claim, about 36% on 1,300. The routes where the veteran added evidence or gave live testimony beat the plain paper reread by roughly 10 points. The tempting conclusion is that evidence submission or hearing is simply better. Now, I don't think the data really supports that. Those routes attract cases with new evidence, testimony, and often representation. The route and the evidence are tangled together. So choose the lane for the problem in the file and not the highest percentage on the chart. If the missing item is a nexus opinion, a lane that cannot accept it will not fix your problem. Now, start with the denial reason. If you have new and relevant evidence and want another regional office decision, look at a supplemental claim. If you believe the existing decision contains a specific error and you do not need to add evidence, look at a higher level review. If you want a veterans law judge, choose the board, then decide whether the judge needs only the old record, a 90-day evidence window, or live testimony. the 1-year clock sits underneath every choice. If you are close to the deadline, don't rely on a video, including this one. Check the date and the filing requirements with an accredited rep. These are patterns from appealed cases and my plain English read of the rules. They are not a promise about your own claims. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a VSO, I'm not accredited by the VA. This is simply data analysis and not advice. If you have a claim in the works, talk to an accredited representative. If you want help reading your own denial letter to see which lane it actually points to, that's a big part of what we build at ClaimRaven, and the link is in the description. Tell me in the comments which lane you're in and which number surprised you the most. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.